client asked me for a metal Tonka plaque. So started having a quick look on pictures on the internet and come up with a couple of designs. So I'm just going to cover the first one. I started with an oval plaque. While I was at it, I tried doing the O as well. As it turned out, I wasn't quite happy with the position of it, but I started doing the rest of it. Don't quite know I started there actually. So put a bit of meat on it. Second of all, give it a bit of depth. So that was the plaque itself. Then we come to the wording, which I drew on and got it right, and you can see where I've moved the O over. I wasn't quite happy with it, and that pretty much worked out about the same. It didn't look far off the originals, so gave that part, because it's a single part, gave that a bit of meat. Let me turn the sketches off. There we are. There's the a few fillets here and there, a bit more meat on the lettering, rounded them off, and final bit. Then it was just a matter of giving it all a bit of shape. So that's what I ended up with. So that was number one. However, I wasn't entirely happy with it, and I'll tell you why. Because when I come to print this, or should I say when I come to cast this, I knew I was going to get some problem here for sure, in here, 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 and possibly in here, maybe even here. I was going to get sand hang up. They're quite tight in there. So I tried a different version. So what I did, I wanted to keep the lettering about the same height, so I wanted to flesh out where I thought there was possibility of sand getting hung up. So in the end I opted to do pretty much everywhere there was lettering. So as you can see, I've sculpted in here, round the O and the N, in between the N feet and the K feet and the A, in the A, in the top part of the A, and between the A and the K arms. So let's move you all the way forward. So this is what I came up with. I ditched the base, and this was the end result. You can see a bit clearer now what I'd done, because I've highlighted the lettering, and you can see the step up for the A, and that is the main height for these two, in the middle of the K, the N and the O. The rest of it is all that height, and that looked really good. I really did like that. It's a very modernish take on the old Tonka kind of sign, but I think he wanted an old traditional sign. So the next step was to graft back on the oval bottom. That was no big deal, and that's what I come up with. And you can see the higher raised sections, and I also introduced a gate and a runner and a spin trap. Now I used for the first time a PLA Plus, and I wish I hadn't actually. We went away on holiday. I left this in the Foundry, which is basically a steel container, and look at the state of it. Wasn't very happy with that, so I had to do another one. Live and learn, eh? So here's the whole plaque, ready to go. I'm going to ram it up in a minute. Hopefully it's all going to be good. And we'll see how it goes. So this is the first time I've used this pattern, so I've given it a dusting, and then I gave it another dusting and another dusting, and I'm going to do it again. Purely simply because there's a bit there I didn't particularly like. So there we go. I normally do them when they're brand new 2 or 3 times, especially if they're printed plastic, just because it really seems to help. Do it, rub it in, brush it off, rub it in again, brush it off, and just it does help the first time you cast it. They seem to get better the more times you use them. Now I will say that I did film this over several different casts, so there may be a few continuity changes. I'm just stitching it best way that makes the video look better. And I was also having a great deal of problem pulling the mould without destroying the lettering. And in the end I had to use a technique which I haven't done for a long time. Just trying to think. Yes, back when I did the Lidden sign, which was about nearly 3 foot long. Basically, that technique is to use brand new sand at the high pull areas, in other words, between the lettering. So this is brand new sand, and you can see the difference in colours. Bright orange. As I said before, my sand gradually gets changed as I use it anyway, but I always keep new sand in stock, and that was what I was using, and so the colour is starkly different. Now I'm just fast forward through this. You've seen this enough times if you've been watching my videos. I was listening to some music, by the way. That's what the squealing is. Isn't like being fast forwarded. Points for those who can guess what music I was listening to, or what track should I say. Now this was the other plaque that I was just about to start for him, which I'll describe as a house-shaped exterior. Tonka only used this for a couple of years, so it's quite an unknown shape. But I did some of them, and you can see there after I pulled it out, that's what it comes up with. Here I am lighting the furnace. I only had a small crucible in the furnace. I'm just turning on the fuel and the air, and she's away. Once it gets warm, then you can turn it up a bit more and really get her going. Now the sound gets a bit picky here. These things really are noisy. Here we are with the pour. And of course off camera you can't see, but I'll turn around and do another one. So this is the net result. These are the oval plaques. And the house-shaped plaques, I really don't know what you call them, but that's what I'm going to call them, house-shaped. Now, here you can see the top plaque is slightly different to the other one, in the fact that it's been poured with the lettering raised upwards. Now, I only done this one as a test, primarily because, strangely, sometimes plaques like that or seem to come out better. That one clearly not, and you can see when I come to do this, but because it failed, I decided to give it a bit of workshop treatment. So what I decided to do was mill off the aluminium that failed around the edge, and then mill off the top surface. So that's going to be episode 2. So from now I'm going to leave you. Make sure you subscribe to catch the second bit, and I'll see you again. Thanks very much. Ta-da.